What do you think is down there?
Let's find out!
What's up guys, it's Underplay Creations back on the scene, and in this video I'm going to show you a world first. Oh my god, it's such an amazing glitch. This is like tier 1 stuff. I'm going to be getting out of the Hellmouth and underneath the Hellmouth, below all the death barriers, just out of all the barriers. To do this, you want to load up the first mission on the moon. I believe it's A Guardian Rises. No, that sounds wrong. The Dark Beyond, I think. And what you want to do is you want to get to this section over here, in the checkpoint between the Anchor of Light and the Archer's Line. You'd want to pick up a pike, whether one of the stationary pikes on the ground or killing one of the entourage of pikes. And once you have done that, you want to go to the like transition zone between the Hellmouth and the Archer's Line, between that the Archer's Line and the Hellmouth. Now what you want to do is you want to have like a pike in front of you and behind you in an equal distance, and at a countdown like 3, 2, 1 go, they're both gonna boost forward, and just as they're about to hit you, you will jump. If done correctly, you will get launched up really fast and pierce through the barrier. But 99 times out of 100 you will fail like that. And as you can see, it's actually quite annoying sometimes. Now I'm just showing you that this took a while to do. It took 2 hours the first time we did this to figure it out, but trust me, it's worth it. Where you can finally get out of this area. This area right here is actually the home of one of the 4 raids, and I'm going to be talking about that. But before I begin, most of the stuff outside of the map is covered by a barrier, so if you touch it, you're just gonna you think it's safe, you're just gonna get pulled right back in, and you're probably gonna have to start over. Sucks, right? However, this little communications tower and that little platform just above where I'm gonna land, it's actually quite safe. So this area is the home of one of the 4 raids. Well, with the Vault of Glass and Wrath of the Machine being done by DJ and Cloud respectively, I thought that it's time to get cracking down on some of the other raids. Let's get 3 out of the 4 done in time for Destiny 2. And I'll tell you, King's Fall is a bit tricky considering the barriers there are really tight. I have 1 or 2 general ideas on how to do that, but it needs a lot of work. As for Coda's End, though, I've noticed that the barrier is actually quite, the barrier and the room are actually quite liberal. You can do so much stuff in them that, well, it's only a matter of time. And with the stuff that I'm showing you today, you could get out of the freaking Hellmouth and underneath the Hellmouth. And now you're actually going to confirm whether DJ's theory was true. DJ Fezzy, the guy who found the Vault of Glass, theorized that the Coda's End is actually in a different world. So when you load into the raid, it's a different Hellmouth than the one you play in, and I'm going to be confirming that right here with this video. But as you can see, I try to land right there and I get pulled by the barrier, and I'm not going to show you how I died, but you get the gist. So I'm telling you, like, that right there where I landed is probably the only safe spot in the entire Hellmouth. So land on it, because, well, I don't know, if you might make 1 wrong move and you don't want to, restart, that would suck. But right now, as you can see, this area, while it looks huge and massive, it actually is quite small. I'll hit one of the box barriers later on in the video, just to show you how small the map actually is. It's kind of tiny. It's a celestial if you really want to think about it. But that right there, I think it's way too close to the map. Maybe at the very corner you might be able to get away with it, but I doubt it. And that right there to my left, just for a second, you saw, that's what I think looks like an early model of the Abyss. And Bungie likes to have like parts of the areas for the raid just scattered around through the patrol world, or maybe in different parts. And right there in front of me, I'll get to that in a sec, but that right there, what I was just going for in the last second before I died, that is in fact what I like to call the Abyss for Crota. But now let's get to that green stuff that you saw on the corner of the, well, in front of you. You're going to be seeing it on the corner or side of the screen, just in right about now. and this is the actual, I call it the elevator because right there you just saw it. And in King's Fall, you can see the texture for the elevator in the Basilica, like outside the map with a sniper. And this is basically the same thing. This is the texture for when you're falling down into the pit. You can call it the like pit, like I almost consider it like a stench, like a smell, like a cartoon. But I guess you could call it its essence. And as you can see, that's the Hellmouth right there. And before I get to that, I'm actually going to be jumping from like the highest point possible to see if it's possible to pierce through the death barrier inside of the Hellmouth, because that death barrier is quite strong in the patrol world, and I always thought whether or not it would be possible to actually get through it with enough speed. And you can see I'm going to get up really, really high, and what I'm going to do is I am going to drop down into the Hellmouth right in the middle. That's the introduction video right there. And let's just see what happens next. And I hit the ceiling barrier. Yeah, you don't want to go too high. This just shows how small the map really is. Now, I'm going to do the same thing and not hit the ceiling barrier, but before I get there, I just want to say that this glitch that I'm doing, like the ramming the 2 pikes, you can do it on Mars with interceptors, you can do it on any other planet with vehicles. Dreadnoughts, no unfortunately, but everything else is fine. Plaguelands, unfortunately also a no, but me and Envious and I have found some other areas, such as the rocket, but we've agreed not to post them for a while because of some other stuff. But like those areas, we'll cover them later if we have to. But there's like a bunch of them that there's just so much you can do with this glitch that it will take us more than a day to post it. And yeah, that's your answer. That barrier is like freaking Durasteel. You're not bending that shit. And I was kind of just like shocked for a few seconds. That's why, I'm not respawning or anything. Now it's time for the ultimate question. Yeah, there's another thing. Don't jump off the platform right there because that's where the death barrier ends. But unfortunately, you die if you just drop down right there. So that's what the landing on the satellite's for. So and just 2 checkpoints in general, like having 2 spawn points is good in case you mess up one like that. But now it's time to answer the ultimate question. Is Crotus End actually down below? Now, this is quite a good question, because if it is, to me that's needed to be complete. 3 out of the 4 raids are finally able to be glitched inside. Like in the beginning, we thought everything was impossible. Well, I'll tell you, when I came on the scene, well, a lot of the strikes were done, but let's see, Archon Priest was impossible, Nexus was impossible, Vault was impossible, Darkblade was impossible. It's nice to see the community has gotten grown, and I'd like to give a quick shout out to just some amazing people. First off, my partner, Envious, amazing dude. Cloud, oh man, you are a legend. I'll tell you, you're like the OG glitcher. Cast, you're newer than me, but at the same time, I feel like your contributions have been pretty great. Wait, really wish you stuck in PvE though. You found some amazing stuff there. Yeah, Jewboy as well. Although you've mainly done some PvP stuff, but nevertheless, you're like what's its face? You're almost like me in PvP, or more like Cloud in PvP. So I guess you can be considered a PvP glitch king or something like that. Plus, I admit your glitches are pretty interesting. Now, as you can see, that's the Hellmouth. And I know where DJs actually have gotten to right just below where that smoke is, and I have gotten there as well. And technically, if you look down, you can would be able to see like the Hellmouth ending, and he took that as a sign of it's a different checkpoint, therefore you're not able to get inside of it. And as you can see, I agreed with him there, but I had one last theory. What if you drop down? Because normally the checkpoint would be down below, right? Well, time to find out. I'm dropping down below, and I should hit the checkpoint any second now. Any second now. Any second now. Okay, that looks like it's no. So, DJ's theory was right. It's in a completely different world. And, well, That's unfortunate. But I hope you guys enjoyed this world first. Make sure to use this method anywhere you go. And here is footage of it in the Crucible, which will be coming up in the next video. I hope you enjoyed, and peace.